For today's video, I want to share with you the results of a very basic and simple experiment that I conducted, observing the results of accuracy with Invictas with Seiko Movements and Seikos with Seiko Movements. As far as movements are concerned, all Invictas had the NH35A Seiko movement, and the Seikos either had the 4R35 movement or 4R36. Keep in mind, I did not have any precision tools here to monitor or measure vibrations such as a time grapher. My only tools were my phone, which I used as the standard reference for accurate time, and my fingers, which I used to hand wind the watches. For the conditions of the experiment, each watch was initially hand wound 30 rotations of the crown, and every 12 hours after that would receive another 20 rotations of the crown. And before we roll into the experiment footage, I want to make it extremely clear that I absolutely love Seikos. They are probably my favorite watch brand. However, I equally love Invictas, and I might be one of those odd people that like both companies, but I don't want to see either watch brand fail or do poorly. So I just want to make that clear and maybe express to you that I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. So without further ado, let's roll right into that footage. For today's experiment, as you can see, I have all these watches set in 5-second increments apart. They are all set to the time 11:39 in the morning, and I have them in 5-second increments apart so that way I have enough time to get to each watch and push the crown in. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I've got all the crowns pushed in. All the second hands are ticking away. Right now they are all pretty much identical, which is expected. And I will give you an update every 24 hours where the time is on each of these watches. Alright, the first 24 hours have passed. Maybe not exactly 24 hours, but close enough. It's 11:24 on the 2nd of October. And let's go ahead and see how our watches are doing. So there's the Pro Diver and Grand Diver. They're already offset by about 5 seconds. And this one, the Sea Hunter is slow compared to the Pro and Grand Diver, and the Akula is going quite fast. But they are still tracking within the same minute. For the Seikos, Seiko Sports is a little bit fast compared to the Turtle, and then Baby Tuna, and then the Samurai. So Samurai is probably going the fastest out of all of them. This is surprising. I honestly thought that the Seikos would still be tracking right on top of each other within the first 24 hours. But there we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Invictas again so you can see. But all in all of these watches are still tracking within the same minute. Alright, I'll see you guys in another 24 hours. Okay, it has been around 24 hours since our last video. It is now 11:26 on the 3rd of October. Let's go ahead and see where our watches are at. We're all pretty much at 26 after on the minute mark. Yep. And for the Seikos, 26 after, 26 after. The Baby Tuna is going a little bit fast at 27 after, and same thing with the Samurai. Let's go ahead and check out the second hands. So the Grand Diver and Pro Diver are a little bit offset by about 15 to 20 seconds. And then the Sea Hunter is in between the two. And then the Akula, as noted before, is tracking a little bit fast compared to the other three. Looking at the Seikos, so we've got the Seiko Sports and the Turtle. They are offset by, what do you call that, 15 seconds. And then of course the baby tuna and the samurai are tracking fast by about a minute. This is really surprising. I know I said this in the previous video from yesterday. I really did think that the Seikos would be performing better. I mean, they're not performing poorly at all, but the fact that we've got a baby tuna and samurai that are tracking a minute faster than the initial time that we set, whereas all the Invictas are tracking at the same time, you know, whatever. It's just a surprise to me. All right, I'll see you guys in another 24 hours. All right, guys, 11:33, October 4th. So this is day 3 of my extremely unprofessional and unscientific experiment. Now, one thing I want to point out is I noticed, so the Seikos were tracking a little bit fast, but now that I remember, I set my Seikos last. So they were all already 30 to 45 seconds ahead from the initial setup. So that makes sense that they would be running a little bit faster. But starting off with the Invictas, so the minute hand is at 32 on the Pro Diver, about 33 on the Grand Diver. Same thing with the Akula, about 33. And then 33 on the Sea Hunter. Let's see, on the Seiko Sports, we're at about 34. And 34 on the Turtle. On the Baby Tuna, 34. And 34 on the Samurai. At this point, it almost seems pointless to be tracking the second hands because they are just all over the place. Yeah, so the Pro Diver and Grand Diver are about 30 seconds off, or maybe like 25 seconds off. And then Akula and Grand Diver, they're about 30 seconds, pretty much reciprocal from each other. And then the Sea Hunter and Akula, about 25 seconds off. I don't even know if any one of them are tracking identical or tracking the same as each other. Nope, not that I can tell. Alright, so going on. Well, actually, so the Pro Diver and the Akula are pretty much, well, they're tracking the closest out of the Invictas. Alright, now going on to Seikos. So the second hand, they're about 15-20 seconds offset from each other. And then Baby Tuna and Turtle are about 10 to 15 seconds offset. And same thing, about 15 seconds offset. So it looks like the Seikos are coming back up. They are looking like they're tracking more closely with one another than the Invictas. Although they are all tracking the same minute. So really, as far as I'm concerned, so far it's looking pretty good for both the Invictas and the Seikos. Alright, it's 11:21 on the 5th of October. I'm starting a little bit early today because I gotta go do some errands. But so now it's 11:22. Let's see where we're at on the Invictas as far as the minute hand goes. Right before 20, no, that's looking like 21 after. Just past 21 after. That's looking like just past 21 after. And just past 21 after. So the minute hands are all tracking identically with one another, albeit it is a little bit slow compared to what my phone is saying. And then on the Seikos, we're looking at 22 after, 22 after, 22 after, and 23. That's looking like 23 after. So the Samurai has been going fast this entire experiment, but still within my acceptable rate of error. And for the second hands, I'm not even going to count the second hands anymore because they are all over the place for the Invictas and the Seikos. Alright, I'm going to do this for one more day, so I will see you guys in another 24 hours, and after that we will discuss and I will share my thoughts and opinions. Okay, it is now 10:03, October 6th, and this is the last time I'm going to be doing it because I think 5 days is enough to get a somewhat decent opinion. But let's go check out where we are at. So 10:03. We're looking at, what is that, about 2 to 3 after on the Pro Diver, 3 after on the Grand Diver. We're at 3 after on the Akula, and same thing with the Sea Hunter. And then again, second hands are just all over the place, so I'm not even going to track those anymore. All right, and then on the Seikos, we are at about 4 to 5 after on the Seiko 5, 4 to 5 after on the Turtle, and then 4 after on the Baby Tuna, and then 4 after on the Samurai, or that's almost 5 after on the Samurai. Now remember, the Seikos are gonna be running a little bit fast, which is expected because I had the second hand already set, 30 to 45 seconds ahead of the Invictas because they were set last. But there we go. All right, let's go ahead and discuss. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's about as long as I'm willing to invest in observing these watches. And I think 5 days is a long enough time to have automatic watches going nonstop and just seeing what their levels of accuracy are just to the naked eye and glimpsing at my phone and comparing the time difference. So during the 5-day observation, I observed nothing out of the ordinary, nothing egregious. The Invictas performed just fine and the Seikos performed just fine as well. I will say I was a little bit surprised. And granted, I don't know anything about watchmaking, but for the Seikos, I had this inherent bias because I spent more for the Seikos, so I expected them to be, no offsets. The second hand, the minute hand just tracking perfectly. And, maybe that's just not possible, and that could just be my naivety as a very basic watch collector. But all in all, perfectly within my personal standards of accuracy. The only thing that I really learned about my watches, in this case the Seiko Sports and the Invicta Sea Hunter, is that these two watches are the absolute worst when it comes to hand winding. And the Seiko Sports, maybe you don't have an issue with it, but for me, I've got these fat gorilla fingers and it's just not very comfortable to hand wind this one, especially because it's blocked by these crown protectors right here. And then this one, you've just got this, I think it's cool, but it's super annoying and impractical. This crown protector right here, this latch, it just gets in the way and it's just a very unsatisfying experience hand winding both of these watches. But other than that, that's pretty much all I gotta say for this video. I'm not surprised because an Invicta with a Seiko movement still has a Seiko movement, so it's not surprising to me at all that it would operate very similarly to a Seiko with a Seiko movement. And for those of you that own Invicta autos, I hope that this video kind of helps you validate the value in your purchase. I know for me it did, because I do consider Seikos as a standard for excellence, and the fact that the Invictas that I own, which I got for very reasonable prices, are performing on par with my Seiko watches, which I consider as just absolutely fantastic watches. It's just a very good feeling. And so again, Invicta, great value, no complaints with their automatic movements. And then for Seiko, Seiko, continue being Seiko, continue being awesome. So that's all I gotta say. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and make sure to tune in for my next episode, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.